have a plan for the future. We are only 37 and 41 respectively. We have a life to live. We've got fulfillment to achieve. You speak like you're 58. And I'm also like somewhere in my 50s, and the two of us are basically facing retirement in the eye. And so for me to still hope to one day go and grab those dreams, those like homes and those, you cannot expect me to be content with so much loss in my life.
Hello, please like, please comment, please share and share and share and share, and then please subscribe. Thanks.
But I knew that he was giving me a half of a story because the Lord told me he was dishonest, and the manifestation of his dishonesty was in the fact that he literally walked out on such a great love because I was inquisitive. I kept asking questions, as any wife should ask. But where are you getting the money from, babe? Where are you getting the money from? And if he doesn't want to answer you, how in the world are you going to be safe in that marriage? I have been ghosted because I asked too many questions. And to be ghosted by someone that you love so much, that much, like, I am languishing, do you understand? I'm languishing, and I'm still languishing. I'm in so much pain. I fell in love so hard, like my teeth fell out and everything. They're on the pavement. I fell. And I can't be with him. He made a decision, and that's it. And for me, it's like, he's choosing darkness. He's choosing fallenness. That is not a prodigal son you can help, you guys. That 24-hour conversation that we had, we were so happy in it. He stumbled me, frankly. Okay, so remember I told you that he started out wearing a beanie, and we spoke for 24 whole hours, or at least we were on the phone for 24 hours, more or less, because we broke off the conversation during the time when I went to the garage to buy gas, and then we just went back at it again. Slept in front of each other and everything. There's something that I did say was stumbling me. We got so comfortable, and oh yeah, it was in this 24-hour conversation that the first I love yous were exchanged, basically. This man, I lamented everything I lamented about, he took it up as a cause to go and check up. You know, my love language is words of affirmation. I keep on saying that I raised it. That 5 Love Languages book, I recommended it to him to read. I recommended it before we chatted again in the 24 hours, right? I told him that there's a way to love me, and I need to be told that I'm loved. I need to be told that I'm beautiful. I need to be told that I'm appreciated and that I mean the world to you. You know, if you can just like humor me with words, my goodness, I'll be yours for life. I'll be wrapped around your finger. You can't withhold from me compliments, therefore, because he was starting to do that due to the fact that he thought I was a, B-word. He didn't want to toot my horn or blow up my head or whatever. And I told him that my love language is words of affirmation. You cannot withhold from me praise. You can't. Because that's just going to make me feel like I'm not loved. And he read it. He bought it online and he read it. He went on whatever online platform that book is at, and he purchased the book and he read it. Well, he didn't read it. It was an audiobook. He said he listened to, by the time that we spoke on the phone, he had listened to 3/4 of it. And he thought that he didn't find his love language until he got to the very end, and he finally found out what his love language was. His is like physical touch. Is so typical. Like, men will likely say that every single time. Chances are he's got another love language, but you know, when you're still a fleshy guy in the world, carnal, all you can think about is groping. So that's why he said that his love language is physical touch. It's probably something else. Men, all of you have physical touch for a love language, like all of you, so choose another one. Anyway, whatever. So he went and read that book because I told him, not because I told him to, but because I told him that it would be great if he learned how to love me. And he read it. Like, this is why I fell for this man. I fell for him because he humored he just was happy to work on us. He was happy. And he read an entire book. He went and bought it and online and read it. Or listened to it. It was an audiobook. So this conversation that we were having, we started to relax. We were chilling, We were talking for, I mean, if you've been talking to somebody for hours, sometimes you even have these silences that aren't even uncomfortable. That's the thing. We got to a point where we were having silences that were not comfortable, where we wouldn't be talking for 2 hours and then we'd talk again. Not 2 hours, but 2 minutes, and then we'd like raise the like talk again. Yeah. Goodness gracious, like I just fell so heavy in love, and then we started to talk about what we're gonna do when we're together. Yeah, that's when I got stumbled. You know what I mean? He started getting comfortable as a man, and because he's lost, he's not saved, that guy, or he's severely backslidden. I don't even know what in the world to call him. Because men of the world, when they fall in love with a woman, they start to fantasize about how they're going to make love to her, or they start to talk to her about how he just can't wait to kiss her or hold her hand or do this. He started to like talk to me like a worldly man would talk to a woman that he just wants to make love to. And he was stumbling me. I was struggling to even resist it. You know, he was talking about how he he wants, like, I would be like chilling like this on the bed, and he'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna start, yeah, you get my point. You know, start kissing your elbow, and then I'm gonna go down, and then kiss your cheek. I was like, dude, we're gonna end up having phone sex. It got there. Like, we never got there, but it was, if at all we had spoken again, I was gonna end up being like, I was gonna fall, guys. I was just gonna let him. Basically, I told you my love language is words of affirmation. So if you even talk to me about what you want to do to me in a marriage, that would be okay. You can't tell me what you want to do to me when we're still talking. You commit adultery with the heart, guys. If you look at a woman with lust, so we're not married yet. So basically, we're committing adultery, okay? You can't talk to me like that. You can't tell me that you want to make love to me. You can't tell me that. Not while we are talking. Not as a Christian engaged couple en route to marriage. We don't have the liberty to talk. We don't have the liberty to have phone sex as Christian couples before marriage. Maybe you can have a little conversation that's naughty like that with your husband, but you can't do it as a betrothed couple. And this dude started to talk like that to me, and I resisted at first, but at some point I just let him like just say, like, talk, like, speak your mind, Barry White. I let him be Barry White. Oh snap, Karabo. Yeah, so that's why I ended up feeling like this guy is from Satan. He's causing me to compromise my standards. He's causing me to be ungodly. And the passion that I have for him is becoming super lustful. It's making me feel some kind of way. I'm hot and bothered. And, you know, like, type thing. Yeah, it started to get really uncomfortable. But comfortable. And so because he got comfortable, and we got comfortable, I said, it wasn't just him. Please, I would be lying if I said it wasn't a two-way stumble issue. We were just busy, the two of us, stumbling. Do you understand? I was stumbling. He was already fallen. So I mean, really, it's like I was going down to his level, basically. That is what in the world was going on here with this the situation between us, right? So we started to get really comfortable and speak about our feelings for each other, talk about how we can't wait to see each other, how it is that the distance is just so tough, and blah 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 and all that jazz. Like, we just, like, yeah, it was getting really sticky, really heavy, and what have you. And we would spend just like minutes upon end just staring into each other's eyes. Like, I would just look at him and he would look at me, and we would just hold the stare for like ever and a day, and then yeah, like, and then talk again about whatever. It was so hard, guys. Like, and during this time I felt so heavy. We started, like I said, exchanging the I love yous. So we were easily happy to say I love you and I miss you and whatnot. He at some point got a call from a brother of his or something, and he took the call while I was on the phone. He's got two phones. So the one phone that he was on with me was still available to him, and he had that whole long conversation with his brother right on the phone while talking to me, and his brother was on speaker, so I could hear their whole conversation as they were chatting. And the whole time as he was talking to me, so I didn't even know how he was able to hold his like calm with his brother, like how his brother could not tell that he was busy with a woman, because the way he was looking at me the whole time that he was on the phone with his brother, it's like he was chatting with his brother and he was looking at me like that, like the whole time. And he kept on smiling. And yet he would be able to respond to his brother. I would not be able to concentrate. Like, we had such chemistry. Thank you, that's the word. It was so extreme. It was so extreme. Like, I think he spoke with his brother for like half an hour on the phone. And the whole time he kept on like looking at me like yeah, okay, this guy, you know, I don't know how best to describe what in the world was going on between us. It was like electricity. Like, I don't know how he was not like able, like, bro, talk whatever he was talking to me to his brother. I don't know why he wasn't like how he didn't stumble with his brother on the phone and start calling his brother baby or something. The way he was just staring at me. And I loved that he could pay. That for me was evidence of the fact that he could pay attention to me in spite of all the other like noises in the world, and in spite of his boys being around, in spite of other people in his world being around. If like I was the main center of attraction, like he was staring at me despite being. I've had such a problem with that with men before. That's why this meant so much to me. Guys could look longingly into your eyes and really just make you feel like you are the center of their universe. And then a friend of theirs comes through and he's ignoring you. He's not talking to you. He's like, yeah, sure, babe, whatever. This dude, a man came into the picture, another dude, and he was still staring at me, chatting with somebody else on the phone. And he was just loving me so much with the way he was looking at me. And I was like, this is so rare in men. Whenever other men walk into the room, even if you were busy telling your woman how she is the best thing since sliced bread, they just break off from it. They have this thing about bromances. They run with them more than they run with romances with women. And this man spoke with his brother on the phone for half an hour while looking at me like I was the center of his universe. It was so beautiful, guy. Anyway, that's what I had with this oak. This man, like, my goodness, I hate that I'm having this conversation because it's like bringing nostalgic memories back, and I'm trying to break away, right? I'm trying to walk away to show that this is Mount Carmel. The devil works on our desires. Yeah, and when he got off his phone with his brother, he was even more comfortable. He was like, yo, okay, anyway, whatever. So we spent that whole conversation just really like loving on each other, type establishment thing. Cool. And the whole conversation was like that, you know, we like, yeah. Anyway, carried on. But then morning came and he had to leave. Not morning, but it was starting to become afternoon in his side of the world. And it was, I think, nighttime. Yeah, it was nighttime for me. And he had errands to run, you know. This man was so serious about me that he had made inquiries about a passport. He had gone on to ask about visas. And like, that was not a dude that was playing games with some person that he's flirting with online that he met by mistake, like, you know, some date on Tinder. This guy was serious. He was making plans. He wanted to give me money to go to to buy a house for us. And during that conversation, by the way, he, like, in the middle of it, like that whole 24-hour conversation, somewhere in the middle of it, he just, like, he loved me so much. This guy just loved me so much. He just like literally just threw like 5 grand into my account, almost 5,000 rands. Like, he just threw it. Like, he was just like, check your email. I checked it, and like 4.8 or something was in my account. And he was like, service your car. I know you've been wanting to service your car. Oh, guys. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, he did. Yeah, that was this guy. He just loved me. He loved me so much. And yeah, so I serviced my car. My vehicle got serviced, but I didn't get a battery because I had other things that I did with the money. I needed a battery. You guys know, you saw me servicing my vehicle. That was because of him. So yeah, he was gonna keep doing that for me. We were gonna become what God wanted us to be. And I, at this point, knew I couldn't lose him. I couldn't. Like, what's gonna happen? So I was like, no, I'm not leaving this. I've never been this spoiled by a man before. I come from being an independent woman, so like, I always used to do everything myself. I've never been this spoiled by a man. I've never had a man love me like that. I've never had a man look at me the way that he looked at me while talking to a friend. I've never had a man sit out, like, literally neglect his own sleep just to like be with me, chat with me. I have, like, yes, like, God, no, that much. Like, I've never had a man If I said something, next thing he runs and goes and does it. Like, he read the book that I recommended to him. He this thing, he went and investigated like visas and whatnot. We started looking for houses online. We shared so much together in that small little time. We fell hook, line and sinker at the speed of lightning. He fell in love with me first. He saw my work, he loved my singing, and when I became Ruth on the threshing floor, he rocked up and made like Boaz, proposed same time. We agreed, we loved each other. Something like that just is dead now, guys. It's dead. On the day when I was servicing my car, we'd already broken up because we ended after that conversation. Yeah, that same one where he was looking at me like I'm the center of his universe while he was on the phone with his brother. I don't know how men can ignore such power in their hearts, like how they can ignore so much emotion. Like, I really don't know how they do it. It's beyond me, hey? I don't know how men can just walk away from something, like, just to stick to their guns. It's beyond me. I don't get it. But anyway, I guess men are from Mars, women are from Venus. We'll never get it. Yeah, so how did the conversation die? How... We were never even going to hang up. We don't hang up. We don't leave. That the conversations only used to end because, I don't know, it was always because of me. Like the guy would be tired. Like, you could see that he's basically falling, like dying a slow death because he's exhausted. It was only, but he would still be on the phone. I was like, no, I'm fine, I'm cool, I'm okay, don't worry, I'm not tired. That's how I am. I'm not used to getting sleep anyway. Like, it's cool. Only when I was like, hey, I gotta go, I want to shower. Hey, it was literally, he stayed on the phone until I was done. That guy just like, yeah, no. He gave me everything I wanted. Everything. And then next thing, I'm sitting here languishing. Anyway, so that conversation, like I said, our conversations never ended because he ended them. It was always me that wanted to go and do a different thing. Yeah, he put me first, basically. And this time around, however, because I asked him, what is he going to do once we have our house and we're living in South Africa? What's your plan? What's your next steps? He got so agitated, so irritable, and I was like, I'm just speaking about a purpose, a general purpose, because I knew God had shown me, remember, during the break that we had, that he's dishonest about some things, and that there is a challenge in him concerning an honest living. So I basically asked him this question because I knew that there's something that he needs to come out with, and it's something that we can't move past if it doesn't come out. And he wasn't ready to come out with it. In fact, he didn't want to, because ready speaks suggests as if though maybe there was a time when he could become ready. When I told him, what about your purpose? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And he got so upset. And I also told her. And then I also started feeling like, I settled. I told him, fine, we can live in South Africa. But then I was like, but no, South Africa is not good for me or you, if at all we're true believers. Plus, I believe that, yeah, whatever. I tried to raise the fact that we also need to take where we're going to stay to God. We can't just run with SA. He was like lording it over me with his decision to do this without actually us coming in concert with each other in agreement. There was something he was trying to run away from, and God was not he was not interested that I should be entangled in something so riddled with deception. And I took it to him then. After taking it to him in prayer, he gave me insight. With this insight, I tried to pull it out of him without saying, God said, God told me, God. So then he would feel, because then on that day, he might just feel attacked, right? And when at the end of a long conversation where we told each other we love each other, we planned marriage, we planned how he's going to pay Lobola, like literally we were together. This is it. This is my husband. This is my man. Like whatever. I don't care. He's mine. He's my man. And I'm his woman. We were together. And we were doing it. We were writing it out. Now we were going to fight whatever demons were going to come against us. So at this point in this conversation, I knew that there's no way that he's going to let this go. Goodness, we'd fallen so heavy and so hard each. It was now confirmed on both sides, as opposed to me being kind of ambivalent. So I knew that I could, and he'd never also acted like this before. So when I asked him, I didn't expect this kind of reaction. It was an overkill. It shocked me. It confused me so much. I even ended up having these conversations with God, being like, but like, what an overkill. He's not bearing the mark of a Christian. I ended up apologizing to him when I first of all, I interrogated what he's going to do with the future. And then I also was like, I resisted, or I opposed the fact of his forcing us to live in South Africa when we haven't even really thought about what we need to do. And in then, like, saying that, he then he got so agitated, and his whole constitution changed. His entire constitution changed. Like, he got upset. He was like, we spoke about this. We spoke about this. You were going to go look for a house. I was going to raise the money. You were going to buy it. I don't understand what is the thing to run away from when we've got a house and we're not paying any rent on it. It's ours and we're living. He basically wanted me to just accept, settle, buy whatever it is of a house that we buy, and that's it for life. No more future plans. And I was like, who does that? Who doesn't want to grow? Who doesn't want to get to a certain level in life? Who does not want to see what their full potential can achieve? This guy was running away from God. He's like Jonah. He did not want to fulfill his purpose. And I told him that, no, I was not made for, for poverty. I was not made for settling at one particular level. I came up ambitious, knowing that I want to grow from one level to another, to another, to another, to another. So even the house that we're going to buy at first, that we're going to stay in, we're not going to stay there indefinitely. We are going to rent it out and then go and buy some other property and earn rental income. We're going to build an empire. Like, I know that whoever is my husband is a man with whom I am going to build an empire. So you cannot be just complacent and content with just escaping your country and living comfortably with the woman of your dreams forever. You can't. What do you want me to do? Be a Stepford, chill at home, do nothing? Dude, we have to have a plan for the future. We are only 37 and 41 respectively. We have a life to live. We've got fulfillment to achieve. You speak like you're like 58. And I'm also like somewhere in my 50s, and the two of us are basically facing retirement in the eye. And so for me to still hope to one day go and grab those dreams, those like homes and those, like, you cannot expect me to be content with so much loss in my life. I want to get my own back. I want a beautiful home. I want my children to attend good schools. Our children. We can't stay at like with whatever means that you're making money in the US, and that just barely feed us, barely pay our rent, not our rental, but our house and water and electricity, barely pay our gas bills, like for the car, barely service our vehicles, and that's it. Like, I am a very ambitious woman. I will never be content with that minimalized living. You want to just be comfortable and basically retire comfortably with a beautiful woman by your side. You are only 41. Why are you trying to retire? Like, I was just like, hey, guy, you gotta fight for your future. You still have one. It's not over. Go and look at 40-something-year-olds. Like, they are still striving for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So you cannot look at 40 as retirement. What in the world? You can't throw me into that. I personally feel like I have yet to even live. And so to understand that the age of 40 is not going to deter me from pushing big things. I want my kids to have a really good life. I'm not going to get it with the man whose income I don't know. It's a guy. No. He wanted me to just relax and just take whatever in my stride. I was like, God gave you somebody to help you boost your life and see what it's like to actually live a fulfilling life in him. And here it is that you're treating her like trash. He got so upset at me raising those things. I didn't even, the argument that I'm having now, it was in my mind. But what I said to him was, but what are you going to do? What's the purpose? What's the next step? Once we're here in South Africa, living wherever it is that we're living, in the house that I'm going to buy, the house that you're going to buy, that you're going to give me money to go and buy. Once we're there, what next? That question, it irritated him so much. It made him feel like she's not going to stop asking questions. that he, by the time of the conversation came to an end, he was like, I need to go. I told you that man never, ever broke me off or stopped a conversation. He, even if I dozed off in front of him, the camera would still keep running. And then when I woke up, he'd be like, hey, babe, what's up? You're up. That was what we had. So for him to be the one to insist that we get off the phone, I even told him, I was like, this is not like you. I might not have known you for very long, but I have enough to gauge that you're not acting in character. I even apologized to him. I was like, I'm sorry. Okay, fine. No, we'll live in South Africa. You know, I remember I told you that the past 7 days, that in the middle of that 7 days, I got so sad. I was so broken that we were apart. My feelings for him also mushroomed. I could not let him go. Well, I learned my lesson basically that you don't walk away from this. This is not something you walk away from. I learned my lesson the first time because of how pained I was. I learned my lesson. And so I was not about to just let him go now. I was not about to throw in the towel on what we were doing anymore. I threw in the towel at first, but this time around I was like, this thing makes me sad when it ends. It breaks me too much. So I'm going to fight for it. I'm bigger now. I told him, I was like, do you not see that I've grown? I'm even saying sorry to you for whatever. I don't even know what I've done. I literally apologized to him. I was like, I'm sorry. I was so scared to lose that love again that I basically begged him to not be angry at me for raising what I raised. I said I'm sorry so many times, and every time I say I'm sorry, he would be like, I forgive you. The way he was responding to my apology was not even like, no, it's okay, babe, it's fine, it's water under the bridge. He was upset. He was aggressive. He was angry. I'm sorry. Hey, I love you too. This is the first time we've ever said I love you to each other, and how we're gonna end up on the phone is with you telling me you love me too by saying, I love you back. He never used to say I love you too. He used to say I love you back. I love you back. It doesn't feel that way though. It really doesn't. Why are you talking to me like this? Come on. I have never been so docile to a man in my life. I have never had a guy be wrong and me, despite him being wrong, be like, I'm sorry, let's work on it. I've never loved a man so much that I was scared to lose him, guys. This is the first time in my life this has ever happened. Where a guy was obviously wrong, but because my feelings for him were as strong as they were, I was like, I can't lose you, I can't. Because my experiences with him were so great, I literally was like the one here on some, no, don't do this, don't leave. It's okay, it's fine. I'm sorry. What am I apologizing for? He's wrong. So basically, I experienced something for the first time in my life. And this guy just threw it away like that. For the first time in my life, I got humbled to realize that there are certain things you just don't let go in this world. And because I woke up and I learned that I can't let that go, I apologized. And he still was like, look, it's fine. I forgive you, whatever. I have things I need to do. I told you I got things I need to do. I told you I got things I need to do. I gotta get off the phone. He was so rude. We eventually broke off. My heart was so broken. After we broke off on the phone, I sent him a DM, a worded one this time, and I told him, look, I love you. I want to work on this. I want to be your wife, like you said. We're gonna get married. We're gonna have those kids. Yeah. And he didn't respond to that. He always responded to me. He always. So because he didn't respond to my secondary apology, this time in DM mode, I was like, you know what, fine, whatever, go. It's over. I don't want to be with you anymore. I dumped him. I broke up with him because I was like, I'm not going to be strung along like that. A couple of hours progressed. He didn't respond. He eventually responded like in the morning when I was sleeping. I could hear, whenever his DMs came through, I could hear that, you know, that DM pop-up sound on Facebook. I heard that and I knew that it was him, because who else is DMing me? I don't have anyone in my life that actually cares to DM me. I knew it was him, but I was so drowsy. I was like literally in deep sleep, because remember, I had spoken to him for 24 hours with little rest in the middle. So I was basically just crashing. My body had crashed, and I heard his coming through. And I didn't answer. He tried to call. He also sent me 2 DMs. on some, let's talk, let's call me. He basically sent me a DM saying, call me, just call me. I was sleeping. And then hours progressed before I could respond. And by the time I came back to check out my DMs, he had said, you know what, it's fine, go. I'm not going to try and push you. I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to like insist on this thing. And then he sent me some song, yeah, Jagged Edge, called Goodbye. Basically, the whole song, when I listened to it, it's basically about a guy that tried to love a woman, but she's unlovable. And she's hard to love, but he will always love her, but he's walking away. I responded to him by sending him Mooney Long's song, That's That Pain, That's That Pain, Do You Feel That Pain? I was like, how in the world are you trying to make me look like I'm the guilty one here? So basically, the thing that caused him to eventually just basically say, if you want to leave, leave, I don't care, was the fact that I didn't respond to him for hours, but I was sleeping, and he knew that he had kept me on the phone for 24 hours. And also, I got upset with him not responding to me when it was daytime during his time. He said that he was going to go and do whatever. And I got upset that he didn't respond to me after hours. And then I dumped him. He said I must call him. And then he sent me like a couple of other DMs. I didn't respond to them. And then he was like, fine, go. And sent me that Jagged Edge song. And I responded to it by saying, whatever, man, you're the one that's wrong here in this whole equation. You're the dishonest monster. And then from that point going forward, he ghosted me. He ghosted me. Remember my feelings. Every time I would want to let them go, they would haunt me. The pain, the sorrow of having lost him. Everything that, yeah, guys, I went through it, hey? I went through so much, and I'm still going through it. I literally cannot be like, I did not expect him. I thought we were just having a little bit of a different, like, you know, the difference that we had the first time. I thought that we were going to be okay again. I literally believed that we were going to both cool off. You don't have that much love in your heart for someone and then not get over your fight. You might be like, you know what, go dive off a cliff and crack your skull while you're at it, and then also go to hell. But then after a couple of hours, it's like, but I love you. Yeah, well, I told him to crack his skull and go to hell. But a couple of hours later, I was like, but I love you. I told him. I did. I sent him another DM. I was like, look, we have to fight this. We are being warred against. We are being fought against. There are people sowing seeds. Discord, there's witchcraft. This is hurting us. You have to fight it. I love you. Like, come on, let's do this together. We have to fight. He just ghosted me. He ghosted me, and during the time when he was ghosting me, I then started getting nightmares about darkness that he was involved in as well. And it all then just made sense. It started to make sense to me. It started to make sense to me because I realized that this guy was into darkness, like the occult. And that my very strong feelings for him, genuine as they were also inspired half the way by the occult because of the exorbitant lust that was between us. He was actively thwarting me and my work as well on social media, and that's why it wasn't growing. That's why my YouTube channel hasn't been growing. He wanted to be my only source of life. So for life, he wanted to be my idol. He wanted to be my only source of provision. He didn't want me to have my own independent life. When I came back from underground and he found that I was back now, he was like, she's still struggling, she's beautiful, I want a wife, I want somebody to spend the rest of my random life with. So he hooked me with contacting me. And then he offered me help. But then as he was offering me help, remember guys, we're children of God. Witchcraft doesn't work on us, man. On our emotions, like love curses. Like a guy can go and put a love spell on you and say, be my wife or be my girlfriend. But if you've got the Holy Spirit of God and you're not interested in him, you're not going to suddenly start getting interested in him. God protects us from that. So I fell in love with this guy for real. But he doesn't know that. Because he put curses on me. He put a spell in me to cause me to fall in love with him. That's why he responded so quickly when I started talking about, Hey, I'm Ruth on at the threshing floor. He imagined his witchcraft was working. He wanted me. He did. That's why he reached out. He tried to see if he can't escape his obscurity. He saw I was in South Africa. He knew that I was going through it. He knew that he was into random criminal activity. He wanted to run away out of his country and take a bride somewhere else and just spend the rest of his life somewhere else. And when he saw my situation, he was like, she's beautiful, she's consecrated, she's godly, she's one of those that's not going to ask too many questions. On top of that, she has nothing. So I'm going to be her only source of provision. He loved me. Loved me. Do you understand? And so because he loved me, I got loved. If you know what I mean. He loved me, and because he loved me, I got loved. So I loved back. He took care of me when nobody else was taking care of me. It makes sense why he didn't care about my persecution. The fact that I was so harassed all over the show by everybody. I kept on raising my issue. Sometimes there was a time when I cried in front of him when we were on DMs about the persecution of my person by my family, and he didn't appropriately respond. He was uncomfortable with my tears, and it's almost as though he was like, oh goodness, you come with all that emotional baggage. He just wanted to shower me with gifts and then make me shut up from all my pain. He didn't want me to deal with my issues, and he gave a false provision of support to me, in that he was the only person liking my videos. He was the only person watching them. My channel doesn't make sense to be getting no views. I am so reaching. I should at least have a small little following, guys. I should be getting more than just 5-10 views per video. I have seen people with far less interesting content with worse videos on YouTube that are getting viewed at least 500 times by people. So this doesn't make sense. The amount of work that I put in, it doesn't make sense. This man basically put sorcery on my work so he can just come and take me. He blessed himself with a good thing. He blessed himself with me. He saw my life conditions and my circumstances and was like, I want her, I'll take her. He veiled himself in the guise of Christianity, and in being fair to him, he was not a fake. He was not deliberately involved in the occult while using Christianity as a veil of fakeness to deceive people. He genuinely did try his hand with Jesus, but he got impatient to wait on the Lord, and then sold his life over, dabbled in darkness, to the darkness. He sold his life over to the darkness and dabbled in it. And ever since, like experimenting with the occult, he's just never been able to let go, and he got demon possessed. So therefore, he did genuinely, at some point in his life, want a relationship with Christ, but it's not quite working out for him. Waiting is tough. I was his grace as well as his judgment. I was both things to him. I could have worked out, but I could also have not worked out. I was grace because I also have been endured through a lot of suffering and persecution, and yet I never turned away from God. I was supposed to motivate him to see that if only you just hold out with Jesus, he will eventually show himself to you, to be faithful and true to deliver you. So it could either have gone one way or the other. I asked God, why would you allow a con artist to come into my life? And the Lord was like, because I had the longing, desire for that guy, that he might see you as an example of what I do for people who wait for me. He couldn't wait. He couldn't wait, and so he dabbled in the occult, but God was like, I'll give you this woman for a wife, if you will turn your life over, because I can see the desire is in you. I can see you have a longing to walk away from darkness. You don't want to be involved in the occult anymore. You don't want to dabble with voodoo anymore. You don't want to try and get whatever it is that you want in your life via darkness. You know what you're doing is wrong, and you have a very strong amount of conviction concerning it, because you keep on checking out so many of my preachers. You watch a lot of Christian content. You're basically like Janice and Jambries. You're always learning, but never coming to a knowledge of truth. You have conviction that hell is real. You have conviction that you are on your way there. You have conviction that you are not right with me. And so that is the reason why you keep on coming back to Christian content. You keep on coming back to the gospel. You keep on coming back to ministry. You keep on doing even like music for me. You want to enter heaven with your works. You want to come to me at the great white throne judgment and say, Lord, did I not do this song for you? Did I not give this? Did I not help your daughter during a time when she was struggling? Didn't I do basically all of these good works that they're going to account to Christ? But God is going to say, depart from me, worker of iniquity, I never knew you. Because he praises God with his lips, but his heart is not with him. He's lukewarm. He has got a compromised life. He's living basically a criminal lifestyle. And he, with it as well, is busy going to confessionals every Friday. He wants to be absolved from his guilt of his sins and still live his dark life without actually putting in the work that it would take in order to repent from the darkness and still go to heaven. So this man is not necessarily like one of those satanic cult members that put a veil of Christianity to recruit people into their fake cult. He's not faking his Christianity. He genuinely wants to be in Christ, but he's also got a foot in the world, and no servant can serve two masters.
Hey, are you feeling reached by my content on YouTube? If so, you might be interested in checking out my tweets as well, alongside reading my content on my WordPress account, alongside checking out my shorts on TikTok. They're all in the description box below. Please enjoy the next coming content. Bye.
So because of his genuine desire for Jesus, the Lord said, seek and you will find. Christ then gave him me. I was like, Father, I've already been through so much. All of these things I've already endured. Why would you let a con artist come into my life at a time when I'm trying to re-energize my future? And the Lord basically said, it's because you're his lost shot. You're the olive branch I'm giving to him. You're the love that he will gain if he stands right, if he stands well. I will show him how I can bless him. You're basically his lost shot. He, however, is not your lost shot. You are my daughter and I care for you. I know how much this man can love you. I know how much this man can show you my affection for you. I know how much he can cause you to forget the pain of your father's household. I know what he can do for you. I know how he can love you. I fashioned him in his mother's womb. I know what he's learned and what he has unlearned. I know how he can be towards a woman that he loves. I know how this man can adore the living daylights out of you. And so therefore, I have made it possible for him to win you over. So when he acts as if though he doesn't understand how to love you with your love language, when he acts as if though he's unteachable concerning the things of God, he is just pretending, trying to see if he can't get his way in and cause you to capitulate. He's using reverse psychology. But this is a man that I know can love you. But my intention is not that you should linger around groveling at his feet forever and a day. He will lose you. And you will never come to know what kind of love he can give you, because I will give you to another man. And that man will love you. So I did not just bring you into his path to play with your heart or let you fall in love violently like a tsunami in your heart. I allowed that to happen because I know that this man can love you. I gave him you as a reward in the end, a choice, a carrot basically dangled on a stick to choose life. To see that even after he messed up the way that he did in his life, I can still give him a really good wife. But he is the one that is rejecting the call. It's like dude has been given everything he needs. So it's not that the Lord was dangling me on a stick. It's not like God was messing up with my mind or my heart. It's not like God did not care for my heart. It is that God cared for my heart so much that he gave me the kind of man that I would absolutely desire. I forgot to tell you the story about the beanie. I keep on, because I'm long winding. Remember, he was wearing a beanie. By the end of that 24-hour conversation, I had asked him to take off his hat because I wanted to see what he looked like without a hat on. And guys, you know when they say a guy is like hand toward love in terms of what you want in a man? He was just so handsome, so much more handsome without that hat on. And I was like, keep it off your head. You're hot where you're at right now because it's like summer. And because we got so comfortable with each other and things got even a little bit inappropriate between us. Like I said, we were basically bordering on having phone sex. But it didn't happen that way. But he was eventually, like if we had spoken again another day and another day, like the next day, it was going to get to a point where he was going to tell me what he's going to do to my body. Okay? It didn't get there. But he was, talking about kissing my forehead and my cheeks and whatnot. It didn't get to the point where he was talking about groping other stuff. But if we had carried on in that trajectory, he was going to brittle me with lust, water me down, and I was going to find it music to my ears to be told what he's going to do to my body. So because we were already kind of compromising. And he, remember, he is in daytime when I'm at night. And he is in summer where he's at. So it gets really hot. If you look at the news right now, what's going on in the United States, there's like heat waves going on all over the show. It's ridiculous, right? It's like really ridiculous. So when the sun started to rise in his place and it started to become midday, it started to become really hot in the room that he was at chatting with me. So he was like, I'm like freaking out with heat. I'm basically dying here. I need to like wear something. I like, yeah, he wanted to like take off his top, his shirt altogether, and just walk around like and like just like, yeah, in his like board, just like his whole like torso all up from here upward. I was like, you're gonna stumble me. You can't, I can't have you be shirtless all up in my grill, dude. So you're gonna have to go and wear a lighter shirt, because I remember we started talking, we were on the phone 24 hours a day, so when we started talking it was nighttime for him but kind of afternoonish for me. So he was wearing like a jacket or a dry you get my point, not a jacket, some coat, some, not coat but a jacket. He was wearing a jacket and a shirt underneath, and then it got hot, the sun rose, and he was like, ugh, took off his hat, his beanie, and he was like, I'm hot, can I take off my top? I was like, no, you can't take off your shirt. But then he went and wore some other like one that was like less like taxing on heat on him. Like he wore some, like, you know, one of those shirts that you work out in. Like it's got like, it's not really a muscle top because it wasn't form fitting. It was loose, but it was actually quite loose. It was super loose, but it had just like a stringy little thing about it, like the kind of thing that you would just throw on walking around in the house. You wouldn't really go to the store like that because you might just look naked. He wore that, and it was flesh colored as well, so it's anyway. And guys, I just Lord have mercy, I need to exercise himself because he is tatted, like in the worst way. And I have a thing about tatted men. I'm sorry, it's just my thing. I don't know if it's a fetish or what, but I love a man that's tatted. Like, you know, who's that guy in the music video? Yeah, Nicki Minaj. I still love the game. Oh my, the game. From even before I came to Christ, I've always thought the game was just a game changer, okay? The game is super tatted. He's even got like a face tat over here. And ever since those days when the game was still a rapper that was very prolific, I was, I think, either a teenager or in my early 20s, I've just had a thing about tattoos on men. The game has this rugged, like, gangster look, and he's just like really rough around the edges, but he's a man, you know. It's, yeah, anyway. Let me not talk at length about this. As a Christian ministry. I've never really overcome that image in my mind. So ever since the game, I've just had a thing about men with tattoos all over the show. And this guy is tatted. I kind of low-key knew that he was tatted because whenever he would do this on the phone when we were talking, like his hand here is tatted. Like he's got a tattoo that goes down this way. And so I saw it, I was like, you know, and I thought it was maybe like the only one or something. Because, yeah, whenever he was talking, I saw it. You guys, when he was wearing that little stringy spaghetti skipper, whatever you call it, yay. Goodness gracious, like, oh, anyway, sorry. Let's just move. He's tatted. So this guy is basically like a dream come true. He is everything I ever wanted in a man. So if it was to be made godly, it's like I would have the sexiest person alive, who is also the most loving person alive, and he knows how to talk to me. He knows what to do. He's so serving, so protecting, so providing, and on top of that, he loves Jesus. It's like, he was just everything I ever wanted. And Chisco, the bald hair, he was just a very hot man. I'm sorry, he was handsome, and he was tatted, and he was, you know, he works out, because I work out, so I wanted a man that worked out. He was strong. He's hot. He's fly. I'm sorry. I hate using these words. They sound kind of unchristian. But he's hot. He's beautiful. And he was tired at that stage, so he was just like lying on a couch or something while chatting to me, and I couldn't help but just stare like at his body, like the tats. He was not naked. He wasn't shirtless. He was wearing, however, that very flowy shirt, and I got to see tats all over. Like they all over. Like the shirt came down this way and you could see one creeping up, like popping up, like almost touching his neck. I was like, And for me, I just got like, my mind went to like Cape Town, and then it went into the ocean, and then it went to Australia, and then it went to the US and came back to South Africa. My brow was messed up. I was just so essentially What God was telling me was that I know what you want, Karabo, in a man. I know what you love in a man. I know what triggers you. And this man would have been able to give you everything you ever wanted in a man. He would have been answered prayer in the worst way. You were going to love looking at him come and go. You were going to love his body. You were going to love his head. You were going to love his loving of you. And you were going to be loved by you, by him, alongside the fact that he was going to be really godly. So if you prospered to rescue him as a prodigal son, you would basically have everything you ever needed in him. I was going to get my tats. I was going to get my tats. I was gonna get those tats, those tats. Anyway, I was gonna get those tats. Let's just move on from the tats. I was gonna get all those tats, y'all. You know, this guy stumbled me as by the way, I'm sexy. Anyway, whatever. So we're moving on from that sexy man, right? That's what he was. I remember even asking him, is it okay to call your husband sexy as a Christian woman? I mean, you know, is it? Whatever. We tarried into uncharted, into forbidden ground. We did. We were unwholesome in that regard. And so be afraid, be very afraid, stay away. Okay? So here is my tattered, like, hunk, right? That I was just so in love with. I was enamored with him. At this point, I'm like, he's everything I've ever wanted. I never got to see his tattoos. The first time I spoke to him, he was all dressed up. So I didn't even know what he looked like, blah, blah, all that jazz. And then, like, earlier on in the day, when we spoke for 24 hours, I was like, oh my goodness, he's so handsome. And then later on, towards the tail end of that conversation, it got super hot in his land, and I got to see his time. Anyway, I got stumbled, right? I got stumbled and it was uncomfortable. So these thick arms. I'm sorry. Ooh, Lord have mercy. It's so cold in South Africa, but that guy used to make me feel hot. Anyway, let's just move on. Let's just move on from the guy with the tattoo. I like my men rugged. I've been saying it. I like my men rugged. And that guy was just rugged. He was everything I needed. Anyway, whatever. So here it is that my rugged, tattered, like Oki, Mabob Archer in these streets is like a mess, right? And I asked God, how are you getting me? Like, you caught me so hot and bothered and stumbled. I wish I hadn't seen his tats. Like, I wish I had only seen the one here. I wish I didn't get to a point where I got to be told I'm loved by him. I just, like, why did I have to even see his bald head? Like, he could have just kept that beanie on. Why did you let me? Basically, my flesh, it got consumed with the prospect of having that walking around in my house. Just up and down the passage. I was mine. It would have been all mine. And there it goes, walking into the bathroom and into the kitchen and going into the patio, doing whatever, frying some meat on a Sunday afternoon. It would have been in my house. Like, he was just such a beautiful man. Moving on. Let's get out of here. How you gonna get that dude that was supposed to walk up and down my passage in my house looking like that? How you gonna take that away from me? He would have provided for me. He would have known how to lift me. I'm a tall woman, right? So I come with like quite a lot of bone mass, and I've always wanted a guy that would know how to carry me, and that guy has the kind of arms that look like, you get my point. I'm sorry. Let's stop talking about this, okay? That tattered random that took away my fantasy. Him walking up and down the passage. Let's not talk about what he's wearing in that state. How are you gonna take all that away from me? Now I've like, I've lost all that. He not only was just a cute, I mean, there's nothing worse than just a Danny Bravo walking around like a cute dude, but like, he's so useless otherwise. Like, in general, everything, like, this guy loved me. He loved me. He cared for me. He took care of me. He catered to my needs. He serviced my vehicle. He showed me that he could be a man. He sat on the phone with me for hours. He spoke with his brother on the phone while staring longingly into my eyes and showing me that I'm looking at you even though I'm talking to him. He was able to be there for me in every facet of the word. Not just show me eye candy, because there's so many eye candy guys out there in these streets. It's like I had everything, like a package, a full package. And it's just like got like literally ripped from underneath my feet overnight. Like I said, he never came back around. He didn't want to answer to God. His demons took him over. And I found out that he was involved in the occult. When you look like that as a man, and when you are that serving and that loving as a man, when you know what you can do for a woman, why in the world do you need Satan? When you are so handsome that a woman stumbles just looking at you wear some silly top. When you are not only that way, but you are just really loving, like you know how to love a woman, why would you need the devil to help you? When a man like that goes and casts a love spell on a woman, how in the world are you not secure in yourself? How do you not know that all you need is your fine self and Jesus? How do you not know that that's enough? That is what the devil chips away from people who are involved in the occult, guys. When you go into the occult, he makes you undermine yourself. You literally forget that you are the kind of man that can keep a woman very happy indefinitely. Like, this guy does not even know if I really love him. Because of the fact that he put a spell on me. He literally wanted to take me. He was like, that's my type of woman. She does everything that I do. She works out, I work out. She's this and that. We are similar. Literally, he saw similarities in me, in him. Why did he not imagine that our commonalities with one another would be enough to foster the most violent romance under heaven? Why did he not trust God? Why didn't he pray about it? I fell for that guy because of how much he loved me. But he doesn't know that. Because witchcraft will make you wonder, once the sorcery fades, is she still going to be mine? I would never have fallen this violently in love with a man because of not a death spell, sorry, but what is this, love spell? No. It just does not happen that way. And I've already spoken at length about curses and how they operate. Why in the world under heaven would a guy, would I fall in love with somebody because they cast a spell on me at this height, like this badly? Why do our experiences not count? Why all those hours we spent on the phone talking, the love we shared? Why is all the just the coming to know one another? The way we looked at each other through FaceTime. It wasn't even live. It wasn't even in person. I'm sorry. The way we looked at each other. You can't manufacture that. Like, you can't come up with it through sorcery. You can't. Why do our experiences not count? How in the world do you think that Satan can give something that poignant? The devil cannot create anything from afresh. He cannot create passion and love at that height. All he does is dabble around with lust. We struggled with lust because who doesn't? But there was love there. There was real love there. And I kept on saying, look, I do love you. And I know I told him. I basically, there was a time when I was even complaining about him. But then I brought down my videos. I was like, I love you for real. I know what you've done. But there's a video that I did that I will link up here. In that video that I linked, I was basically calling him to repentance, telling him I know he's involved in the occult. God has shown me. As soon as I let him know that he's involved in the occult, he ghosted me even further. He tried to make it look as if though that's not what he did. But my YouTube channel, by the way, every time we were happy in good stead, which was only 2 times, by the way, in our whole history of being together, my stats would all of a sudden be okay. They would grow. But every time we would fight, my stuff would stop. Like, I'd get no views at all. And this time around, I got not even him. So imagine posting something and you don't even get 1 view. 0, guys. 0. It has only been by the grace of God that I have gained some kind of viewership back again. Because I'm praying. But it is not breaking past whatever it is that he did to me. I got shown so many dreams where I was shown that I'm in a ping pong match with him. Fighting with him for my ministry. He stole my ministry. He took my subscribers. He took my views. Because he is a man that is so in love with the woman that he can't stand the prospect of her getting her own. He can't stand the prospect of her marrying another man. He feels like it's the death of him. And so upon seeing that, realizing my feelings still for him, I sent him I did that video, sending him yet another olive branch, awarding him yet more mercy, saying, look, you're dark. The cat's out of the bag now. You are involved in some silly things. Your life is also not honest. It's not above reproach. But Jesus is calling you home, and I still love you. And I am happy to work on this, but this time around you have to be honest. This time around, you know that song, is it Wyclef Jean and that other woman? If only I gave you one last chance with the devil, you can no longer dance. You've got to be faithful so we could be truthful, build a family and follow God's destiny. So just before you walk out the door, Poppy, would you listen to my song? They say two wrongs don't make it, won't make it right. I don't want to, that song. I sang him that song, but like, I didn't really sing it. I like expanded, I exposited on it in that video. I basically told him, if only I give you one last chance, you cannot dance with the devil anymore. You can't be involved in criminal activity anymore. You can't do whatever. You have to be faithful so we could be truthful and build a family and follow God's destiny. I sang him that beautiful, beautiful song, Wyclef Jean and that lady. Except it wasn't a song, it was written. And he ignored that. He ignored that.
Don't forget to like, comment, share and share and share and share and finally subscribe. Bye.